At U.S. Architectural and Sun Valley Lighting, our goal is to produce architecturally relevant luminaires. But what does that really mean? Well, remember, U.S. Architectural and Sun Valley products are all outdoor products. They're seen 100% of the time, whether illuminated or not. So in the design of our products, we use a phrase that helps keep us on track when it comes to how we design our products: seen by day and seen by at night. That means that even when the luminaires are not turned on to do their basic work of lighting the area, they need to look proper and in context with the surrounding environment. What is that environment? Well, if it's contemporary and we look at contemporary architecture with its cleaner lines, its more geometric or mechanical look to it, the luminaire needs to reflect or look like it enhances that type of appearance or that environment. If it's a traditional type of look, the luminaire should tie into that style as well. Traditional look being defined as having more embellishments to all of the elements to it. Rather than having plain windows, they all have ornate design around them. A railing that has an ornate design around it. Pillars or columns that have ornate capitals and designs to it. And the look or the material, the colors that are used, are reflected in the material that's used. Stone, brick, masonry, as opposed to painted surfaces. The building roofs may have metal roof lines on it, such as copper, to hold their color for centuries, if that's the case. But it's all natural. It's not anything that's been applied as far as color is concerned, like we find in paints today. Architecturally relevant luminaires, in the U.S. Architectural brand, we call it contemporary relevance. In the Sun Valley brand, we call it traditional elegance. This is what we're trying to accomplish. When we look at contemporary luminaires, whether they're easily defined or not, they look more geometric in shape. They have cleaner lines, perhaps bolder colors, or they may follow a contemporary design element that's called, or feature, or a concept that's called form follows function. Case of the luminaire on the right, the Tsunami, the optical compartment has its look to it with the curved roof line. The barrel there connected to the back side of it where the driver and electrical compartment is, and then the arm that connects both to the pole. This is form follows function, where each section or each element of the internal components has its own design element that's all tied together into one unit. In traditional luminaires, they tend to fall into three categories: knob and shade style luminaires with a strong downward emphasis in their light output, globes or acorns, where the entire lighting element will glow. Hopefully most of the emphasis is in downward illumination, but the entire top portion of the luminaire is illuminated. And then lanterns, where you may have either 4 or 2 posts supporting the roof of the luminaire, and they may or may not be lensed in between. Lanterns are probably the single largest category of traditional luminaires on the market today, and that's where we're going to focus our attention here for the next few minutes. When we look at the Colonial Lantern, for example, in context with its surrounding architecture, we begin to see where the look of the Colonial Lantern comes from. It looks like its elements have been drawn from various buildings and architectural themes that are used in that time period. In fact, it even is structured to look like light fixtures that were used at the time, whether they were gas lanterns or whatever the source may have been. And they look proper during the day and also as illuminating elements in the evening. The Mozart Lantern has strong neoclassic themes to it, with the flutes on the hub on the bottom, the arms being curved and having scrolls on the end of it, which tie it back to neoclassic forms of architecture that we see in a lot of government buildings, state capitals, etc. The luminaire we're going to talk about today, that we're showing to you though, draws its influence from an area that we don't see very often. The name of the luminaire is Marbella. Not Marbella, Marbella. And that name, actually, if you've ever been to Spain, you'd recognize it as being a coastal resort town on the Mediterranean coast in Spain. And what we see over here is a lot of Moorish Spanish-style architecture that's not often seen in the U.S. Again, the name is Marbella, not Marbella, but you can call it anything you want to as long as you use it. So what are the aesthetic influences that give this luminaire its particular appearance, the design elements? Well, when we look at this Spanish Moorish style of architecture, what we see is repetitive themes throughout. For example, the arches that are used over and over and over again are repeated or mirrored within the look of the Marbella in the hoops that make up the support for the roof of the Luminaire. Not really arms per se, but these hoops that imitate this theme of arches. The small little detailing in the way the hoops are tied together with these cleats, with all the small little detailing that you see through these various images here, these photos here of various styles of Moorish or Spanish architecture, where all the little detail in the design comes out. On the bottom, the hub isn't just a simple bulb to it, but it has almost a pumpkin type of look to it as far as the soft rolling character of it and those very soft creases that are in there that add an additional look to the Luminaire. And even the arms that are used for the Luminaire itself have an ornateness to them, unlike other types of products on the market today. Marbella is available in 3 different sizes, 21, 18, and 21 and 12 inch. It has 3 different lensing themes, if you will. One has no lens at all to it, or it's an open frame theme. Then you have the clear pattern lens to it, or you have a white lens to it. And the Luminaire can be either post-top mounted or pendant mounted. For arm mounting of the Luminaire, either to poles or walls, there's a specific set of arms that have been designed to enhance the look of Marbella. If you'll notice in the images that you see here, the scroll on the top attaches to the pole. The scroll on the bottom is away from the pole. We call this a down-facing scroll. And the reason we call that to your attention is that we make 4 different styles of arm mounts for the 18 and 21 inch. There's the tenon mount or pendant mount with an up scroll where the top of the scroll is away from the mounting surface, or a tenon mount and pendant mount where the bottom scroll is away from the surface, such as you see in the larger image. And then for the 12-inch Marbella, which is a bit smaller and therefore less intricate, we have a simpler arm for that, either a tenon mount or pendant mount with an up scroll, or a tenon mount or a pendant mount for a downward scroll there as well. Optically, however, there's no compromise in Marbella. It uses the PLED optical system common to the U.S. architectural products and becoming more and more available within the Sun Valley product family. There's 9 different distributions, optical patterns to it, 6 asymmetric, 3 symmetric. For the asymmetric patterns, house-side shielding on each individual LED is available, and the optical panels are fully rotatable and replaceable in the field. Now, in the open frame unit, you have these 9 different distributions. In the clear pattern lens version, you have again these 9 different distributions, and you retain 90 to 95% of the open frame pattern and light output when you use the CPA lens. Doesn't do much to inhibit the performance of it at all. In the white lens Luminaire, we have 2 basic asymmetric styles, a wider with a shorter forward throw and a narrower with a longer forward throw, and then a symmetric style of distribution that's available. Marbella, whether it's post top or arm mount, whether it's pole top or pole mounted or wall mounted, doesn't matter, is a beautiful enhancement to the project that you're working on now. Again, Marbella, not Marbella, but you can call it anything you want to as long as you use the Luminaire, which is the next generation of traditional elegance from Sun Valley Lighting.